this moment in time.
And Thritley was very aggressive there. Ends up catching out Doom's X as well as an Earthshatter coming in out of easy mode, but not really catch on too many targets. But there's the res coming back through, but the kills are still going blue. They're still going Austria's way as Jazz is finally able to turn on one kill, but it's just him and Doom's X, the last two men alive. I'm not sure they can really accomplish much against the entire squad of Austria who didn't even need that res in there. They will hold again. And now with 2 minutes remaining, Serbia need to make something happen here really soon.
Yeah, they got really punished for trying to come through the connector. It's a very narrow choke point, so the Zarya and the Reinhardt were actually just able to do way too much damage, or more so than they probably should have been able to. But they really have to worry about this cart. Like, coming from that lower area is nice, but if the cart's not moving, the cart's not moving. Any fight that they win right now, if there's no time on the cart, it won't really matter. Like, we're going to see them push through the server room, but the cart's still rolling back, so someone really needs to get on that for this push to have even mattered at the end of the day.
Not to mention, all these ultimates are ready to go for Austria as well. The Graviton Surge hasn't been popped just yet, as Watt's just going to back away in the meantime. Even a Dragon Strike coming out of Doom ZX, but it doesn't really catch on any single person. Bomb is able to respond onto Yzma, taking his counterpart down. The Graviton Surge is still being held onto, so he finally does pop. It picks up 3 people, and just like that, support's going to get 3 out of the 4 kills, funny enough, and that will be a wipe yet again here. Serbia not getting any momentum.
Yeah, Austria's playing this to the T. That was a really good play. They dropped the beat immediately. The Dragon ult from the Hanzo didn't get anything done, and then they had enough time to pop the Transcendence afterwards, and I think they even got a Graviton towards the end. So the cart's almost back at where the original first checkpoint is if this map had been played months ago, but it's even farther back than that. So right now they're finally going to get on the cart. They have the res. If they can make the most of this res, they'll be in a good position because there's actually no ults up right now for Austria. So I think their entire team needs to go in right now for a big fight, but keep that Mercy protected.
And Jazz is trying to fight on the high ground onto Thritley here. He's trying to at least lock down this position, lock down this control. He's going to be able to spot out another man. That's going to be Ace Palm getting taken out immediately by Jazz. He's just going to use his dash yet again to get some extra HP, but now he's overcommitted. He's by himself, but like you said, Quirky Wolf is the man to watch here. He's got at least 1 man to res here, but no opportunity to use it just yet because that's not going to be enough for them to win this fight. Mercy able to respond with the kill out of the Zenyatta, now has Transcendence available for them to contest this even further, and just time and time again, Austria picking up kills left and right. Jazz is just trying to back away. The Transcendence can be popped to keep Mercy alive, and with this time that they're buying, finally res will come through, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, they waited a little too long there. They had a really good opening once they got that pick on, I think it was Ace Palm, and they could have probably went in, but I think what happened was Punisher was trying to fight Mercy on the Zenyatta, but the Zenyatta actually won the deathmatch fight with the Zarya, so it really blew up that push. I think that if they could go back in time, they would have pushed the card a little bit earlier, but now they're going to get picked off, and I don't expect them to be able to take this checkpoint just based off the current standings of their ultimates.
Yeah, we are in overtime as well, but they don't really have anyone there to contest the payload, and that will be it. That will be overtime taking through. I also realized why there's no in-game audio, and I'm going to be able to fix it in just a second, as I'm going to hop back to my face. Actually, I muted it because I needed to have it off earlier on to do some adminning side. There we go. You can't hear it, but that was really loud. We have the sound back in. But yes, so Austria, they did hold strong, very strong. Is there any key players out there that you were looking at in particular that were like, they actually did a relatively good job in what they needed to do?
Well, Zenyatta winning the deathmatch against the Zarya was pretty good. I would say Mercy definitely played really well during that game. I keep saying Mercy, and I keep wanting to say she, but it's probably a he at the keyboard, so it's really throwing off my brain. But yeah, that was good. And they actually had a really good window, Serbia did, to win the match right there. I think that they could have at least gotten the first checkpoint, not the match, but they had a big window where they had res and there were no ults up for Team Austria. So I think if they had hit that small window, they could have actually made this a lot closer. It looked very one-sided, but in reality, it could have definitely been a better game, I think, if they had chosen a little bit better routes to attack the cart from.
Yeah, in Doom ZX, we got to ask about this. He played Hanzo for the majority of that first half. Did eventually switch over, though, to McCree. Do you think that was something done just too late? Was just a little bit too late to make something happen off of that? Because this Hanzo wasn't too effective, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge, I guess. They tried to take the cart with... They never really grouped up as 6, and the times when they did, they put themselves in really precarious positions. They tried to come from the connector, which was their entire team in a small choke point. They got earth shattered and swung at, and then they tried to take server room in another small choke, and they were running a comp that I think thrives on open space with the Hanzo and the Genji. So towards the end, you saw them, they realized, like, oh, we need to get on the cart and fight in this lower ramp, which I think was the play from the start. So it's like the Hanzo wasn't really working, but was it the Hanzo's fault or was it just the positioning? You know, I think he knew that he should have gotten off, though, because, McCree in general will more or less do more damage.
All right,
more likely.
We're still seeing a similar composition as Serbia this time. They're sticking with what they went with in the first half, but they're also keeping Doom ZX over on the McCree. And on the side of Austria, they're more than happy to actually allow Thritley to go onto the Genji. So he's playing the Reaper before, And just as I switched him, immediately dies. But he was playing the Reaper before, and he's going to be playing now the Genji for the team here. While Jazz has actually switched over to the tank role, who was playing the Genji in the first, was playing the Genji in the first half. So quite a lot of switch-ups here between the teams.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much they've scrimmed together, how much they know, but this is a really tall order right now for Team Serbia. Like, they have to hold this ramp, and the cart's not even, the cart really doesn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I would expect this to be over rather quickly, but you never know. Anything can happen in this game. I think that pick early on the Genji was pretty big though, because it gets the McCree rolling. His aim probably feels good right now, and that charge was a little questionable, I think.
Yeah, you actually knocked down to 5 HP there. So it was trying to go with an aim battle with Dooms, but didn't work out in his favor. But still, in the meantime, they have Bombi pushed up relatively far, and Punisher as well behind the enemy team, going to be taken down by Thritley. He's a little bit overcommitted to there, but nonetheless, he does at least take one man down. But with the payload so close to actually crossing this line, they can't afford to lose out on too many men, especially without even running a Mercy. But Watt7, the only one to actually play professionally in the team, or at least competitively within the team, back on Team Project, on the Zarya with so much energy to use. He's not dying as well. He's maintaining this energy, and he's even able to push up almost by himself.
Yeah, I will say though that in this map in general, even in pubs, this is probably one of the harder points to take on this map. I mean, at the beginning, if you're gonna get held, sometimes a lot of teams will get held on this ramp, and you have to push it as a group, and you have to push it with your ults in like very specific timings. It looks like they're in a really good position to hold right now. They're gonna drop 2 of their tank heroes, but they still have this Transcendence to work with. If they can keep everyone alive right here, that'll be really good.
Oh, Ace Palm, though, is going big. He's been able to pick up 3 kills. Now Thritley with the Dragon Blade is trying to go in. He does take down Zoom, and this might have just been enough for them to push the payload across, and there you go. Austria off to a strong start, taking Watchpoint Gibraltar, and now allowing, I believe, Serbia to choose between Hollywood and Lijiang Tower. But still a good game nonetheless. We did see some really strong individual play between some of the teams, as we'll get a nice little cheeky play of the game in here. But I think, and this is something I've always liked to talk about when it comes to playing competitively. So Flame, in your experience, attacking versus defending first. Obviously, when you attack first, you know the time you have to hold. But when you defend first, you know the time you have to beat. And sometimes teams prefer to force one of the others.
I think generally you want to attack first because you really set the pace for the other team. Like you create this sense of pressure when you finish the map and there's a time that the enemy team has to worry about.
Right.
It's just like a different level of stress that isn't there when you're attacking first. Because like when you're attacking first, it's like we have to finish the map, we have to do it as fast as we can. But there's no real gauge of how well you're going to do. You'll see teams like not cap through Dorado or something, and then they'll be like, all right, now we just have to really full hold the first point of Dorado. And like that'll happen because it changes the way that they approach the game. And I think when you set the pace, you also have a lot more control in how it plays out.
Okay. Well, I guess we should talk about the new meta somewhat, since we did have a major patch recently, and we've only had really, I think, 2 tournaments being ran on it with the Ghostly Gamers over the weekend, and then the Levano tournament that's been going on between some teams. What's your kind of take on the new meta in terms of like any new heroes coming to light? How's the support kind of set up working between the teams now?
I think teams are kind of lost in some aspects. I think a lot of teams are trying really hard to not run Lucios and not run Zenyatta's, or teams are trying really hard to make Mercy work. The game changes a lot when you add this Mercy hero back in and when you remove the Lucio. Like teams have to really play a certain lineup, I think, and I think that it hasn't been discovered yet which teams are going to run what. But I would say that most times you're not going to want to change it too much. Like some teams are really good at getting reses off, but some lineups, like just hero compositions, aren't good with reses. And I think that there's some mismatches in comps right now, and I think that as this tournament goes on, you'll see the evolution of which meta supports become the standard. But right now, I think it's going to come down to a lot of swapping. We saw Mercy that game. We saw Zenyatta that game. We didn't see an Ana, but I think Ana's great on Gibraltar. You never know. Well,
even with the Genji mix-up as well, or even you don't even need Genji necessarily. It comes down to a Reinhardt, which we see a hell of a lot on Gibraltar, like you're saying. But looks like we will be going over to Hollywood. I'm just waiting for the teams to ready up. I'm off the screen half the way because I have to do the graphics in the actual meantime. So you guys kind of have to bear with me here as I switch like